What it dookie? Here we go. It is I Love You Say It Back. It's the podcast. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Trying out a new camera angle. Turn me up. Whoops. Here we go. You try something new and you forget how to do it the old way. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for joining us. This is I Love You Say It Back. It's a podcast. I'm your host, Vic D. So glad you're with me on this beautiful, right now it is Wednesday night. And you're going to be getting this on Thursday, which it's a beautiful Thursday. We have, what do we got? There's a lot going on. Obviously, all week there's been like playoff. This is me talking about like my personal interest. NBA playoffs every single day. I don't know if tomorrow there will be, because tomorrow is the NFL draft. And I'm talking about hopes and dreams of not only the players who are going to be drafted, but I'm talking about hopes and dreams of every single one of us little fans who got like these delusions about like, you're going to pick a guy in the 5th round who you think is going to become a Hall of Famer, and everybody's optimistic because until you see him play and fail, you can't be wrong. You're going to be like, you know what? We got this 5th round guy out of Maryland and everybody slept on him. It's like, well, I don't know. But hey, who knows? Maybe the next Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. Glad you guys are with us. What a special show do we have lined up for you today. I got a couple things I want to hit on here. We are going to be talking Earth Day. So we had our Earth Day event. Shout out to everyone who came out to check out our booth, to come say hi. I'll tell you more about this when we hit it, but we'll give you a little recap on that. Gotta shut the fuck up of the week. I went to a pretty amazing event earlier today that was put on by Dr. Anna Marie, who we had on the podcast. What was it now? Maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, something. It was when we were on the podcast tour, and it hit me a little different. So I'm coming in with a little different swag. I would say good. It was more of a reassurance in certain ways, and it gets deeper than that. But we'll talk about that coming up here in a sec. I got your fun facts here in case you didn't know. Pismo Beach was rated the #1 small coastal town in America, which is crazy. And we'll do a little late night trivia. We got some other things that we got to address. But before we do, I want to remind you guys, please like, subscribe, follow. If you are listening to us on Apple Music, please hit the subscribe button. If you're listening on Spotify or iHeart, whatever it is that you're listening to, we're available everywhere, anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Hit that subscribe button. That means you're going to be getting the notifications every single Thursday when we drop an episode, and that gives you a little bit more opportunity to stay up to date with everything we got going on. So please like, subscribe. If you can rate it, leave a comment, do all that stuff. I'm going to be getting really annoying with it, but it matters. It really, really does matter. And I've had several conversations over the last few weeks with people, and yeah, it really does matter. So the more you do that, the more you tell your friends, the more you share it with your coworkers, the more you share it with your family, your friends. If maybe they haven't listened, maybe they haven't talked about it with any of their friends, put them on. I'm like, hey, give it a shot. I always tell people, like, you don't have to like it. Don't listen every week if you don't like it. All I'm saying is, give me a chance to piss you off. Give me a chance for you to either love it or hate it. That's all. Listen to a couple episodes. That's all I ask for. Because if you don't like it, I'm not going to be like, well, you got to keep listening, please. I'm not asking for favors. I'm asking for an opportunity to hopefully win you over, and maybe you'll be telling me, I love you so much, say it back by the end of the whole thing. So hopefully. Let's start with this. Just got a couple recap things. By the way, we're back in studio. Big shout out M Special. If you haven't listened to that interview, go check them out. They're incredible. I hadn't been out to Santa Barbara in a very long time. And it's one of the, like, you forget how nice it is. You're like, damn, it's nice out here. Damn, Santa Barbara. California just don't miss. I don't know if motherfuckers want to leave here. We're like, taxes are too high, so I'm moving to Arkansas. All right, well, good luck. Enjoy Arkansas, because Pismo Beach is one small coastal town, and that's not even, we still got Santa Barbara, we still got Half Moon Bay, we still got all the NorCal and SoCal beaches, and little Pismo Beach, one of the best small coastal town in America. So but enjoy Arkansas, enjoy Oklahoma. My taxes and a tank of gas is $2.53. Yeah, shut the fuck up. That is not my shut the fuck up of the week, but it does make me laugh every time people are like, I just can't do California. Well, hey, there's plenty of Arkansas for you to enjoy. I want to get into this Earth Day. First of all, thank you to everyone who came out, stopped by the booth. That was really cool. There was met a lot of people. And big shout out to the Earth Day folks, Jay and Natasha, who put it all together. Great festival. Loving. Is today Tuesday? No, yesterday was Earth Day. It's been a heck of a I would say last couple weeks, but Earth Day was yesterday. Just did the whole event is based around how can we protect Mother Earth? What are some things, some small changes that we can make in our everyday lives that are going to go a long way, right? So that's what it was all about. And you want to hear something funny? And I literally was talking to my buddy Joel, shout out Joel, who was out there with me, helping me with the booth and just kind of manning the tent and everything. It was funny because everybody at this event had a thing at their booth. All right. Everybody had kids were doing face paintings. Kids were doing paintings on canvases, on small little canvases. They had bikes out there where they were making smoothies using the blender was powered by like a bike that you ride, making more sustainable, just all kinds of neat things everywhere. And people stop by our booth and they'd be like, all right, well, what do you got? After they're making their rounds of all the sweet booths, over 70 vendors. And they're like, what do you do? And I was like, damn, I don't have face paintings. I don't have nothing for to give away. We had merch out there. And then we brought out it was so funny at the radio station, we had a giant Jenga, and I found a giant Jenga in the garage before I left. And I was like, I'll throw this in there just in case, just literally for shits and gigs. I threw it in there and it saved the day, because if I would have just been out there, they're like, people stop by and they're like, what are you doing? What are you offering? What are you talking about? I was like, man, I'm just out here to support, just show love, that, just kind of show that we're out here supporting, and, but people expected whether it was something free, whether it was something, something that they could take away or a conversation or anything. This is why it was hilarious. It brings me back to just do shit. Just do things. Because we had our brand new tent out there, and I'm so proud and I'm so excited of this thing. If you saw it on social media, actually got to post a picture of it. We got our new easy up canopy, and I was really proud. It's the little things in I guess you can call this a small business. It's the little things that mean a lot. I'm sure you guys have seen those pop-up canopies that are custom made with logos of whatever businesses is there. And to have my own, to have one for the podcast, it just felt really cool. It was really cool. And my family came by again. Joel was out there, had some friends come by, some other people that were friends that were vendors. Shout out the Cake Pops and bringing us by some of those cake pops. So just an incredible event, but it was a learning experience more than anything. It was the first time we took our tent out. And by the way, just a little behind the scenes, that thing didn't arrive until, was it Thursday or Friday? I think the two of them arrived Thursday, then the last part arrived Friday. Mind you, this event was going down Saturday morning. So I didn't even know up until the very end that it was actually going to arrive and it was actually going to happen. But I'm telling you, man, things just seem to work out, and it was really cool. But that's why you just got to do things. Because now I know next event that we're a part of, I'm going to have stickers. I'm going to have, something, whether it's the podcast playing, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do more than just being there. Hell, I might do face paintings. I don't know what the qualifications are. What if I just go out there and just be like, yeah, I'm doing face paintings. And they'd be like, oh, you're really good. And I'm like, no, I do a podcast, but what are the qualifications? It'll wash right off. It's like a haircut, right? Get a bad haircut. You know what the difference between a good haircut and a bad haircut is? Like a week and a half, it'll grow out. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. But yeah, it was so funny. Everybody had their own cool little things going on. And we were just out there like, man, we're just showing love and support. And it was funny because, people were coming up and asking, hey, what's your podcast about? What do you guys do? And it's funny to think about how we would describe this podcast. And this is what I kind of kept going back to. I was like, I would describe this podcast. So if anybody asks you, take this with you. It's observational comedy, meaning I'm living my life. Remember, I always reference this. Mall cop. What the hell's a mall cop going to do? Is he going to arrest anybody if he's going to do it? No. Observe and report. Watch and tell somebody about it. I'm observing life. I'm observing women. I'm observing things that are interesting, things that are funny, things that are whatever. Observe and report. So I would call this like observational comedy, the world of women almost through the eyes of like a guy, who's very different than a lot of you guys. Not married, not kids. My target audience is very different. And it's almost like that's where I would think that the comedy kind of comes into play. Just kind of like dealing with like the imposter syndromes and funny that my target audience is who it is and how I try to look at the world through your eyes. And when I'm the complete opposite, which it's, I think it makes for a good blend because I still like my football and still all these things, but it was an interesting day. It was a fascinating thing. I was very proud of it at the end of the day. So again, maybe we're going to start doing a few more of those events. We do have some more merch updates that I got to get you caught up on. The one that I'm wearing currently is actually not for sale. Here's what I always do. I get merch. I get what we're going to sell. And then I just get a bunch of hats that I would just want to try. I'm like, do I like this? And if I like it, maybe down the road, I'm going to add it to what we do. But right now, this is just one of the ones that I really like. So we're actually going to be selling it. We have a version of this that we're going to be selling. So stick around for that at ILYSIB Back Pod. But Earth Day was fun. Definitely like, hey, so what are you doing? I'm just out here showing love to Mother Earth and the people who put this together. So that was a lot of fun. What do we got here? Okay, I got to tell you about this. So earlier today, we were at this event, and it was put on by Dr. Anna Marie, and it was, I forgot what the actual name of it is, but it was basically a panel of 3 entrepreneurs, local entrepreneurs, business owners, and things like that. And this isn't like normally like all of my segments have like a little bit of comedy to them or some kind of, tie back to something. But I actually just wanted to take this opportunity to anybody who's like on any kind of journey, right? Business journey, weight loss journey, like you have to change things. You have to things are not going to change if you don't change. You have to make changes in your life. And oftentimes, they're uncomfortable changes. And to be completely honest, I've been going through quite a bit lately in a few different senses. I've almost kind of driven myself crazy thinking like good emotions, bad emotions, all these things. And I've always known, again, for good or bad, I always knew that I was a little bit different. I always knew that for one reason or another, I always say this, like I feel like I was born to be an entertainer. I just can't sing or dance. My entertainment is doing a podcast, right? So naturally I would attract attention, whether it's me trying to be funny, whether it's me doing a dance, and I can't dance, whether it's me it's whatever it is. And I always knew like I don't know how to describe it. But when you're when you're born and raised in a small town and you grew up with a group of friends and you grew up with these same people, and then you have these dreams and you have these things that you're like, there's something in me that I can't deny, that I can't fight off. Because I feel like, one of the things that they talked about on this panel today was how when you deny your gut instinct, when you deny what feels right inside, you're ultimately going to pay the price for that down the road, because your body's telling you what you want and what you need and what you desire. Sounds a little too doesn't sound right, because it's more of like you almost need it, right? And it's going to show up in different ways if you ignore those. She talked about how it shows up as like heart disease. I'm talking about like down the road. So follow your gut instinct. Do what feels right to you. If it's pursuing a dream, pursuing a passion, pursuing something, and you know that you're built different for it. Going back to what I was saying about when you're born and raised in a place like Bakersfield, that's going to be met with some challenges. And I feel like the further and deeper I get into this podcast thing, I've lost a lot of who I consider to be like good friends. I actually talked about this on the panel today, or I asked them about this. I was like, you guys are all born and raised in Bakersfield, except one lady. I was like, how'd you handle when you're trying to break out of what your group of friends are doing? You got people who have normal jobs. They got a normal schedule. They go to work. They get paid every 2 weeks. They have great jobs. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing, is what I'm getting at. But it is different than what I'm trying to do. My reality or my dreams look different than their dreams. There's a lot of school teachers. There's a lot of welders or oil fields or electricians or whatever you consider a normal job is what I was surrounded by. And I felt kind of crazy. I was like, man, maybe this is stupid. Maybe this isn't right. Like, I would lose friends and I was like, am I the only one who kind of goes through this? Am I the only one who's like, struggling with this and this and that, And so when I asked that question, I was like, they gave me a really good answer in the sense of, who you surround yourself with is who you're ultimately going to kind of become, right? So a lot of the people that hang out with each other are, like, hey, you do this, I entrepreneurs, or if you work at a school, you're a school teacher, you kind of fall in line with whatever you are doing because you have something in common with that. Well, I realized that I don't have a lot in common with a lot of people that kind of I came up with. And I felt really alone. I felt really lonely. I felt really scared. I felt really like, is it worth it? Is it anything, is this normal? And they basically kind of gave me a reassurance in the sense of like, look, you're trying to do something different in the town that you grew up in. It's almost like trying to rebrand. I'll tell you this funny story. When I was first starting in radio, I don't know if I've told this story before. When I was first started in radio, I was working at a. This is before I was at KUZZ. I was at a small country radio station, and they wanted to put me on air at the radio station, right? At the country one. And I was like, hell yeah, like this is what I want. This is what I need, And I don't remember if the people who, like the GM and all them, I don't think they were from Bakersfield. But the point that I'm getting at is they wanted to give me in radio, it's very common to not go by, your real name, right? A lot of people's last name is different. A lot of people's first name, a lot of people change their name completely. So my name is Victor. They wanted me to go by Johnny Reyes. It's a completely true story. And not that I'm against, changing my name or anything like that. I'm not against it. I understand the value of what they were trying to. I actually thought it was brilliant because it was going to be the country, but Johnny was going to, was like you can call it like a white people name. Reyes was going to satisfy like the Hispanic community, which is massive in Bakersfield. So I understood it. But when I came back to him ultimately, I was like, bro, you got to understand, like, I was born and raised in Bakersfield. My name is Victor. My last name is not Reyes. I was like, I can't just go to my homies. I can't just go to my people and be like, hey, by the way, you got to call me Johnny now. So it's like rebranding. And I was like, okay, that's a little too far. But I do understand when it comes to, trying to do something different, trying to do something, a podcast, this and that. And you do have to do things. Your schedule looks different. You are not working the same times that they're going to be working. I work overnights. I work freaking, I mean, if you follow along on social media, you know, like I'm up like way more, but that's not their norm. And that makes them feel uncomfortable. It makes them feel they want to throw shade. They want to do this. They want to, you know, it's just like, that's my reality is different than your reality. And I'm different than you. No better, different. And when they talked about it, it gave me like a sense of reassurance. It almost felt like you're supposed to go through this pain, this awkwardness, this losing friendships, all this is part of the journey, in the sense of those are the things that keep people from continuing. It's the hard stuff. It's not the easy stuff. I can put together a podcast in 10 minutes. But it's the consistency. It's a showing up after a podcast didn't do great. It's showing up after an episode, or I'm not feeling motivated, or I'm going through other stuff in my personal life that's not easy right now. It's continuing to show up when people aren't cheering. I always say this. This is a great example. It's like any business grand opening, everybody's going to be there. Your friends, your family, everybody's going to be rooting for you. Hell yeah, we're here. Consistency is boring. You're not going to get the cheers every day. You can have a grand opening. Everybody's going to be loud and social media is going to be popping. But what about the next day? What about the day after that? What about the day after that? It's not all going to be glitz and glamorous. Some episodes are going to go crazy. Some episodes are going to be down. Are you willing to continue to do that? Are you willing to keep posting yourself on social media? Are you willing to continue to do the things that need to get done, even if they aren't not every video you're going to post is going to go viral. You're going to get made fun of. You're going to lose friends. Are you willing to continue even though all that uncomfortable stuff is happening? And that's what I took away from it. I was like, you know what? I felt really lonely. I felt really like, is it normal to be losing your friends? Is it normal for the people who you thought were going to be cheering for you the loudest are really kind of doing the opposite? And it was almost like a validation. Like, yeah, you know what? The reality is some people just are uncomfortable with it, and because it looks different than your reality. So I wish I had like a funny line to wrap that up. But it really hit me different. It really hit me like, I was like, man, it made me feel like, yeah, I'm on the right path. And you know what? Okay, just to wrap this up, this is why having a podcast is sick, because I can be totally honest about everything. We went on a massive 7-8 episode podcast tour, right? Our numbers went crazy. Why? Because we're doing collaborations. I'm getting my audience. I'm getting that business's audience. I'm getting everybody else who's friends and family with that audience. Numbers went crazy. So I got really excited. I was like, yeah, now the podcast is on another level. Well, I come back in by myself without collaboration. Now I don't have another business to promote my stuff. And the numbers naturally go down. Here's the part that's cool. Now we're like, let's say we're getting a certain amount of downloads. Well, now we're retaining a little bit of those audience, but it's not going crazy like the other ones. So the last few weeks I was really struggling. I was like, man, I feel stupid. This isn't, you get used to seeing those high numbers. And so it's like a downer when you don't see them. And I got the thing about me that I kind of hate is I place a lot of my value on my content or whatever it is on results. So I could do something stupid that I don't really think is that funny or that good. But if it does well, I'm like suddenly, I'm good, I'm happy. Or I could do something that I consider to be brilliant or really good, but it doesn't do anything. I'm like, that was stupid. And I got to get out of that. I've got to get out of that. I've just got to believe that, hey, some things are going to hit, some things are going to do really well, and some things just aren't. And I hate that I place a lot of my value. And I used to do this when I was in radio. I was like, man, I had a really good show tonight. And I would go home and sleep like a baby, have a great night. The other nights I'd, not feel like I did my best. And it would be just sitting in the back of my head. So maybe you're like that. Maybe you're going through something like that in your own kind of journey, but it was nice. So shout out Dr. Anna Marie for putting that together, and really fascinating. Those great people. Maybe we'll have some of them on the podcast soon. I did talk to a couple of them. I'm always in there just like, hey, you ever do a podcast? You want to come on and bullshit? Let's get into your fun facts. Your in case you didn't knows. All right. We're bringing back this segment permanently. We got rid of it for a little bit, but we're for sure going to bring this back permanently every week. These are your fun facts. These are your in case you didn't knows. Let's get right into it. All kind of food related this week. In case you didn't know, cheese is the most stolen food in the world. In case you didn't know. In case you didn't know, this is the only thing that Diet Coke is good for. I Diet Coke. You guys don't really like it. I know you. It's cool. It's cute. It's like Diet Coke. It's just me, just getting tea. Man, shut the fuck up. You guys don't really like Diet Coke. I know you just pretended, but it's good for this. In case you didn't know, mixing alcohol with Diet Coke actually gets you more drunk than regular Coke. So mix it with Diet. In case you didn't know. And finally tonight, in case you didn't know, I almost had to reread this. I was like, this can't be real. Bananas are berries, but strawberries are not. In case you didn't know, those are your fun facts. You're in case you didn't knows. Let's get into this because Pismo Beach is a beach that is about maybe a smidge over 2 hours from Bakersfield. And oh man, I just got a text from my buddy C's. Gotta have C's on the podcast soon. Pismo Beach ranked the number 1 small coastal town in America. And it's funny because if you live in Bakersfield or you're from this area, maybe even like Fresno, I'm assuming kind of feels the same way. We grew up with it, and this beach is 2 hours away. So you almost kind of take these things for granted. We're like, Pismo Beach, it's right there. Pismo Beach, we take these things for granted because it's just right there. It's just right there. It's just like, and we always kind of like trash it. We're like, nah, man, that's just like the basic ass Bakersfield beach. Well, now there's the USA Today did a top 10 ranking of small coastal towns, and Pismo Beach was ranked number 1 in the country. These are small beaches. Morro Bay was on this list also. Morro Bay is incredible. I think Morro Bay gets a little bit more love than Pismo Beach, but Pismo Beach is awesome, man. I love going there during the summer when it's 112 degrees and you just pick a weekend and you're like, all right, we need to get out of this heat. And Pismo Beach, Avila Beach, Morro Bay. There's some good golfing out there. It's just good stuff, but there's some good Old West cinnamon rolls. If you guys are ever listening, I know we get downloads like from Germany or from like LA or, literally anywhere in the world. It's kind of cool. It's kind of neat to see where people are listening. If you're ever in the Bakersfield area or near Pismo Beach, you got to stop by Old West cinnamon rolls. Hey, absolutely fantastic, sweetheart. Some of the best. You get a little dozen there, and you got the maple one. You just can't beat it. We're gonna wrap up here in a sec, but I have a shut the fuck up of the week. Here's my shut the fuck up of the week, and this, I'm proud to say, this particular occasion didn't happen to me, but it has happened to me before. Let me give the backstory. I was on a run, and where I run, there's like a Taco Bell and there's a Jack in the Box, right? And I go late at night. I'll be running 1, 2, 3 a.m., whatever. So there's not much traffic around the time that I go running. Folks, I go into this neighborhood, and I just hear someone pull into the Jack in the Box, and it's the Jack in the Box, not the Taco Bell, with the loudest, absolute loudest speaker for their drive-thru that you can ever imagine. Someone's in there and they're like, let me get a jumbo jack, large Coke, and some curly fries. You know what? Make it 2 tacos in there. And then you just hear the speaker just come back like, did you say large jumbo jack, 2 double cheeseburgers, tacos, large Coke? Was that correct? And you're just like, yo, chill. Shut the fuck up. Everybody can hear you. Just told the whole damn neighborhood what I'm having. I'm not proud to be here. I'm not supposed to be here. I snuck out of the house to get out of here. But those speakers, you got to understand when I don't know who controls the volume on these speakers, but you got to understand that at 3 a.m., sweetheart, you do not need it to be on volume 10. I was running in the neighborhood and I could hear what Mima was ordering. And again, this particular situation was not me, but it's happened to me before at McDonald's, at Taco Bell, at other places. And I'm just like, yo, you can definitely say this a little bit lower. Like, let's use our inside voices. We don't have to put anybody on blast. We don't have to shame anybody. We don't have to say, even call me by my last name. They're like, oh, 3rd time this week. Shut the fuck up. People with those drive-through speakers, turn the volume down. It's okay. I can hear you just fine, sweetheart. Let's turn those down. Shut the fuck up. Absolutely embarrassing. The little secret hack there is you tell people that you're ordering for. What you do is like you pretend you're like, oh man, okay, let me see. Okay, it looks like they want junior jumbo jack, 2 tacos, and we are going to be doing a munchie meal, whatever that means. I guess they want it with one of those grilled cheese things. And then you're like, and then I'll have, and then you pick something small for you so that you look like the skinny one. That's a secret to ordering big. That's a secret to going big back while looking like a tiny little dainty thing. You pretend to be reading off of there. It looks like oh man, that looks like a lot. They want a munchie meal, grilled cheese with a junior jumbo jack, curly fries, and 2 tacos. Ooh, that's crazy. For me, I'll just do a jumbo jack and regular fries. It's fine. I guess a lemonade, but all that's for you. But you get the luxury of just being like, I'll just take something small. It's all for you, sweetheart. So those loudspeakers, shut the fuck up. Keep sending in those. So I got a couple. I'll be honest, I only got maybe like 6 or 7 of them. But please, so we are going to be doing just the same way that we brought back, in case you didn't know, we're going to be bringing back a segment we called Wednesday Wisdom. Already getting some fantastic questions. The problem with this segment is that we get a lot of relationship questions. It's a lot to do with cheating. So if you're unfamiliar with what we did in the past, it's basically you submit questions, you submit things that you're like, hey, Vic, and it's all anonymous. Submit your questions. We talk about it right here on the podcast, and I give you my Wednesday wisdom. We used to do it on Wednesdays at the radio station, which is why we carry the name over. In fact, if you got name suggestions for what we can call it on here, feel free. I feel like just Wednesday wisdom is sick. A little Wednesday wisdom. Podcast comes out on Thursday. Who cares? But yes, keep submitting those questions if you're in a relationship. If you got again, one of my favorite ones is when the dad became the coach of the kid. The kid was no good at, he's like, I don't know, do I cut my own son? And I was like, yeah, well, it looks like you got to cut little junior. But yeah, so let's wrap it up with our a little trivia. All right, we're going to be also bringing this back. So sometimes you just got to play the hits. You got to see what's working. You got to dive into the analytics, and I'm really happy. I'm like, the things that I enjoyed all ultimately ended up being the things that do the best. So happy to be bringing these back. Also, trying this new camera angle. If you guys are watching on YouTube, maybe we'll do it like this from now on. Who knows? All right, let's get into it. Here's a little trivia. Here's a question. I'm going to give you the answer, but if you want to think about it, Feel free to pause it before I give you the answer. Talk about it amongst you and the people in your car. Siblings who do this at some point growing up are more likely to remain close as adults. Let me say this one more time. Siblings who do this at some point growing up are more likely to remain close as adults. I'll say this. Me and my sister did this when we were growing up, and it's absolutely true. I think we're very close now. Which, by the way, I don't know if I announced this, but my sister is expecting another baby. I'll just sneak that in. I don't know if I had talked about it, but I know on social media I hadn't talked about it because when I didn't want to talk about it, they hadn't announced it yet, and I wasn't going to announce it before they did. But yeah, in case you didn't know, I'm another baby on the way. All right, one more time before I give you the answer. Siblings who do this at some point growing up are more likely to remain close as adults. Siblings who share a room. If you share a room with your sibling at some point, you're more likely to remain close. We lived in an apartment when we were little, and we shared a bedroom. It wasn't for very long. I remember that. It was for at some point, but got to be some truth to it because we are pretty close now. So that's going to wrap it up. Thank you for listening to our show. Go check out the last episode that we did with M Special. Go check them out if you're in the Santa Barbara area. Please like, subscribe, rate, share with your friends, share with your coworkers, tell everybody to download, and follow us on socials at ILYSIBEZ. We're just a couple followers from getting to 700 organically. So thank you so much for that. I love you. Say it back. Y'all have a great night. Sleep good. Los Angelitos. Tomorrow is the NFL draft. It is the most hopeful day in America. Everybody has a chance to draft a future Hall of Famer in the 5th round. See ya.